Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. We are pleased to be joined by the head coach of Holt High School football. That, of course, is Chad Fulk. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Getting ready for a big game this weekend against Hartland. Before we get into the opponent and the game, talk about how you guys are doing this season.
All right. We started off a little shaky, but we had a pretty solid schedule this year. We started off with a very good Caledonia team at their place. Follow that up with another really hard opponent of Mason, who's undefeated. I think they're the only undefeated team in Division III still, and it's also a rivalry game. And then had to go to Grand Ledge week 3. So starting off 0-2, and then trying to figure out stop everybody from panicking. It can be a little bit of a trick there, but we were able to right the ship and we're off 6 of the next 7 wins against some pretty good teams.
Yeah, yeah. When you start off a season like you guys did, that could derail some things. But what were you guys able to do to turn it around? I mean, it takes I don't know what it takes, but just maybe a mentality, or everyone just took a good hard look at themselves and say, maybe what can I do better, or what am I not doing better, or what am I not doing?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is that we knew that we could play better. I think early on, because we graduated a ton of kids, especially very good kids. Like we had Kellen Reed, who's playing at Grand Valley, and I don't know how long he'll stay at Grand Valley. He's a legit kid. I would not be shocked to see him playing on Sundays one day.
Yeah.
Malachi Davis is playing at Toledo. So we had some really good guys that we lost, but we only had 2 returning starters on defense coming back. And so playing some really quality programs like Mason and Caledonia right off the get-go, that'll get you. Now, we had also scrimmaged some really great teams. Our scrimmage had Hazlitt, South Lyon East, and Lowell all in it, which are all playoff teams as well. So all the teams we've seen this year, except for maybe 2, are all in the playoffs. So our schedule was tough. We just knew we had to grow up pretty fast. So the biggest thing was not panicking and just knowing that we were going to be able to right that ship. And having to go to Grand Ledge, who's just on fire right now, going there week 3 to their place in a rivalry game for a trophy game, being able to hold their offense to just around 8 points, doing that was pretty huge for us. So that really was the turning point for us to let us know we could do something and then go through the blue and be league champs.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so for many people that aren't familiar with your program, kind of talk about some of the guys that are kind of standing out for you. Some names maybe for people to watch out for.
Yeah, so Isaiah Foster is a huge name for us. He's one of the captains. He's a 3-year guy for us. A super smart kid. One of the officials actually stopped me last week and told me he's probably the best tackler that they've ever seen, which I agree with. He's tremendous. He's also a guy that will, we talk about that quarterback being the coach on the field and getting guys in the right spot. He's that guy for us, especially on defense. He's able to get all 11 guys in the right spot, even when a team might throw something strange at us that we're maybe not prepared for, hadn't seen before. He's able to be that coach on the field and get guys in the right spot. He's just a tremendous player. Other Carlos Speed is a guy who's super talented. I think he's just as talented or quicker than Malachi Davis, who's now playing at Toledo. So Carlos will get moved around on the defensive line for us. He'll play some inside. He'll go outside at defensive end, but he's just really, really quick. And you put that together with his size, he's pretty hard to stop.
Yeah. So going into this week, really offensively, you guys have really improved, and it really starts with your running back. But overall, how do you think the offense is doing so far heading in, especially these last few weeks?
I think that our offense is kind of lying in wait. I think that's one of those things that they're still trying to figure some things out, and I think they're getting closer. We've got some guys that are pretty explosive on offense. It just kind of under the right situation. Playing some of the teams we've had, they're still trying to figure some things out. But Offensively, I think, we got some things. If we can figure it out and get those things going, we could score in bunches pretty fast. Now, when things aren't going necessarily our way and it's more of a grind them out defensive battle, we've got some guys that can go in there and run the ball and get us 4 or 5 yards of carry and really turning it into long drives when we need it. Right. So, like we play the Ann Arbor Huron last week. They're a team that's not necessarily going to have long drives, but they're going to score on a big play. And I think our receivers are that they could score on a big play, but when we need a long drive, we're able to go and do that as well.
Yeah. Going in and defensively, where do you guys think you're at?
Defensively, I think we're in a really good spot. We started off that year not so great, but playing Caledonia and Mason, we gave up 70 points in those first 2 weeks. That's a rough start. But since then, we've only given up 78 in the last 7 weeks. So I think they're the reason we've won the blue. Playing teams like East Lansing, Grand Ledge, Ann Arbor Huron, teams that are scoring 30-some points a game, and we're able to hold them under, single digits or under 10. Our defense is playing phenomenal right now. In fact, they're the reason that we are in the spot that we're in. Without them, we wouldn't be in the playoffs. We wouldn't be league champs. Our defense has really just been carrying us. So hopefully we can continue that, but we'll see. There's going to be some tough teams we see.
Yep. Of course, it all starts this week. You got Hartland coming in here, and just like you guys, they are known for running the football. And of course, you have to stop. One key to, if you want to beat Hartland, stopping their running back, number 24, Joey Mattard.
Yeah, I mean, watching him on film, he's incredible, right? I mean, there's our defensive coordinators talking about how he's watching film, and once he sees somebody going to a mass of guys, he thinks play's over, so he skips to the next play to see what's next, and all of a sudden they're kicking a field goal for an extra point, and he's like, "Well, what happened here? I got to go back and check it out." And he just makes things happen when you don't think things are going to happen, right? And so, for us, the biggest thing is stopping him. If we can stop him, I think we got a good shot. Everything seems to go through him. So, we don't see Hartland as often as we see the other guys on our schedule. So, the couple of films that we did see, he seems to be the man. So, he's going to be hard to stop, but we'll give it our best shot.
Offensively, for you guys, it's going to be tough because that's another solid defense on them as well.
Yeah, very much so. So the last few weeks we've seen some really tough Ds, and so we've been able to squeak out some really low scoring games. If we need to, our guys have that confidence of being in close games and knowing they're going to squeak it out. So that will come back and help us, but it's going to be one of those old school, smash mouth football games this week. One of those games where the game might be over. If the game starts at 7, it might be over at 8:15 because the clock's going to be running with the amount of time we're running the ball and they're running the ball. So it'll be interesting
for sure. And to have it at your place, have it at home to kick it off, that's got to be an advantage, right?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, it's hard, especially when you got high school kids that are used to routines and things like that. When you got to go on the road for a farther distance, especially out of town, out of league, whatever, you got to leave a lot earlier, and that throws your whole routine off a little bit. So for us to be at home and have that routine of going to school, going home for an hour, coming back, getting ready, that definitely helps us out.
Yeah, for sure. And what's going to be the biggest key that you have to do to get a win and move on?
We got to stop the running back. Everybody says that's how you beat them, but you got to actually do it. I mean, you know how to do it. You just got to actually do it, right? You got, if I'm not mistaken, Hartland's got a pretty good wrestling program, and we've got a pretty good wrestling program. So we got a lot of those guys that'll see each other later on. It's going to be one of those old school running football games. There's going to be a lot of bruised guys on Saturday morning, but if you win, those bruises feel a lot better. If you lose, they hurt a lot more. So hopefully we'll be able to stop him a little bit and or at least contain him enough to where we can score more points. But that's going to be really tough.
Yeah. All right. Well, Chad Fulk, thanks for spending some time with us. We'll let you get back to game planning, and good luck this week against Hartland.
Yes, thank you so much.